Auburn was having a normal Monday and then found itself in the crosshairs of national media? What?
Well, Zach, I actually just finished crushing some chicken farm, and I am freaking ready to rock and roll.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zac Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Happy Charlie Tuesday to all who celebrate as we are joined by Auburn message board legend, Charlie 5. So Matt Rhule gets fired from the Carolina Panthers yesterday. On Monday, Bomani Jones, a well-known, I don't think he's with ESPN anymore, but a well-known sports media personality, puts out his comments of, Matt Rhule would make sense in Nebraska. A few Auburn people then respond to his tweet, one of them being Josh Walters, a guy named Josh Walters who's kind of started all of this. Don't know about the fit, but what if Auburn moves on from Harsin? Between that potential buyout and paying Gus, hiring a guy who could let the NFL pay 2/3 of his salary would make sense. And Bomani says this, Charlie 5.
He got unruly.
Yeah, but I wouldn't rule it out. He said, I mean, someone will take that job, but you'd be a fool to take that job. What's your response to that?
Where do I start? I mean, I could go for 45 freaking minutes on how idiotic that statement is.
Go for 2 minutes on it.
How about I go for 2 minutes? Okay.
Sweet.
Terry Bowden, hired from Samford, goes undefeated his first year, plays in an SEC championship. Tommy Tuberville, basically a 500 coach at Ole Miss, 25-20, 12-20 in the conference, comes to Auburn, has an undefeated season, wins the SEC championship, wins like 5 or 6 SEC West championships. Gus Malzahn, Gene Chizik. Gene Chizik was 5-19 when he got hired at Auburn, won a national championship.
Won a natty. Yep.
Gus Malzahn went from high school, the fastest ever from high school to hottest coach in America, follows Hugh Freeze's footsteps on a program he built, goes in, wins 10 games or 9 games, whatever, gets the Auburn job, goes to the national championship in his first year. We've hired a bunch of goobers, and they've all won big. We've hired a bunch of essentially no-name people. They come in, they have immediate success. Gus was here 8 years. Terry Bowden was here 5 or 6 years. Tuberville was here almost 10 years. I mean, that's pretty solid for like the average lifespan of a coach at a school. Like, it's not like there's just everybody has these 20-year head coaches that last forever.
Yeah, it's wild to me. The narrative has become how unstable Auburn is. And it's like, we've had the fewest coaches of most programs in the SEC, if you want to go all the way back to 2000. So this belief that you're not going to be given a chance is stupid. It is so stupid and completely unfounded.
And I'm going to go on a rant when this thing's finally over about how much Justin Lee did a really good job, but I'm going to go even more in depth about all the chances that Bryan Harsin has got, the narrative that he never had a chance. I'm going to blow that completely out of the water. We don't have enough time to even start that. But the thing is, I don't know why. I don't know where this from the national media comes from. I wish there was like a time you could pinpoint it, and find out where. But like, if you really look into the Auburn coaching situations, coaches that don't have great records come in and they have success, and it seems like it's more about Auburn than it is the coaches. It's like Auburn, you're just going to have success if you come to Auburn and you love Auburn. And you get connected in with the community and the school. Auburn will love you back. Bruce Pearl's a great example.
Sure.
All these coaches that I just listed, they all were invested into
Chizik's
Auburn,
a great example. Tuberville's a great example.
Yes,
I mean, these folks chose to live here. Gus would probably have some sort of activity here if he wasn't in Orlando right now. I mean, so I'm with you on that. Bomani also said, just kind of going back and forth, this guy named Bob, but his his handle is at Mark Andrews, so I don't know what that's about. But he says it's a good job in theory, but based on where they play and the expectation, it's probably the toughest job in America, which you and I have talked about this before.
That's fair.
Sure. So Bomani responds back, What's even good about the Auburn job in theory? At best, the fourth best job in the SEC West. There's a high ceiling, but the floor, it's bottomless. Well, the ceiling is very high because the last four that you just mentioned either played for a natty or should have played for a natty if you include Tubbs. So it's like, what are we doing here? What are we doing?
The floor is bottomless. The floor is bottomless. We've only missed a bowl game. This will be the fourth time in like 20 years. If you go look at, we missed a bowl game. We're going to miss a bowl game this year. We missed a bowl game in 2012. We missed one in 2008. And when was it before that? 1998. I mean, to me, that is. It looks like it's really hard to lose less than 8 games. It looks like it's really hard to win less than 8 games at Auburn.
So fourth best job in the SEC West. Like, I guess he's saying Alabama's the best job in the SEC West, but I do think there's an angle where that's not true because I think it's going to be incredibly difficult for whoever's after Saban. So, like, I actually don't even know if that's true. You get access to a ton of stuff, but that's not going to be an easy situation to step into.
Ask
LSU,
Mike Shula. Ask Dennis Franchione. Ask Mike Dubose. Ask Gene Stallings, who won a freaking national championship. Ask them if it's the best, if what they think, instead of the greatest coach that's ever lived, who just happens to be at Alabama right now. Like, ask them if that's a great job, if it's the best job in the West. Right? It's just so. The media, it's just such a stupid take. And
I assume the other two that he put above it is LSU and I guess A&M. I guess A&M, but it's like, I don't know. It doesn't seem like Jimbo's having a whole lot of fun out there. So we'll see. And it's like, okay, if LSU's that good of a job, why did they have to settle for their fifth option and get Ed Orgeron? You know, so it's like, I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm totally buying that one either. So we'll see. But
make a huge reach on Brian Kelly, who probably is going to get fired quicker than Bryan Harsin is. So I don't know. It's just, I don't understand. Like, if you can really look at this logically and look at the past history of coaches that have been hired. I mean, even Pat Dye had a barely over 500 record at Wyoming.
Sure.
And maybe a barely over 500 record before he came to Auburn. It's Auburn wins. When you embrace Auburn, you win. I don't know. I can't understand it. I can't explain it. It does not take the best coach of the generation to win at Auburn. Now, we have the sustained success that a lot of like a Nick Saban or somebody would have. No, but you come to Auburn, and if you just embrace Auburn, it seems like you're going to have success. And then there's voluminous amount of evidence to support that. I went with voluminous there. How about that?
I don't even think that's the right way to say it. I know what you're trying to say, but I'm not going to correct you because you're on fire right now. On a Charlie Tuesday, I'm not going to say you're wrong on a Charlie Tuesday. That would be crazy. Very
lengthy and full. There you go. That's what that means.
Very lengthy and full. I like it. Do you want to talk about some of the players that, are rumored to be redshirting and stuff like that? You cool talking about that in a second?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, right here on Locked On Auburn. But hey, today's show is brought to you by our friends at Upside. Charlie 5, do you hate it when your gas costs more than what you should be paying?
I despise it.
Do you hate it when the food at your favorite restaurant costs more than what you think you should be paying?
Cannot stand it.
Do you hate it when groceries cost more than what you should be paying?
Absolutely loathe it.
Loathe. He did not say love. He said loathe. Our friends at Upside can battle this inflation that we're going through head on. To get started, download the free Upside app. Use my promo code LOCKED, 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 to get $5 or more cash back on your first purchase. And then once you check out this Upside app, there's a bunch of different offers in the app. You redeem it. You take a picture of your receipt, and then you get cash back, and you can move that cash from your Upside account to your PayPal, to your bank account. You can get gift cards, whatever you want. So download the free Upside app and use promo code LOCKED to get $5 or more cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. That's $5 or more cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more using promo code LOCKED. Also, Charlie 5. Quick question. Your favorite place to buy alcohol of any kind is where?
It's got to be Frisky Whiskey.
It's Frisky Whiskey. It's Frisky Whiskey.
Without a doubt.
You understand how crazy the selection is at Frisky Whiskey. You understand how crazy and polite the customer service is and how willing they are to help. You also understand what it truly means to be frisky, and that's why they call it Frisky Whiskey. And I respect you a ton for that. Frisky Whiskey, it's just it's off of I-85 right when you get into the state of Georgia. It's cheaper over there, tax stuff and stuff that I don't fully understand. I just know when I go into Frisky Whiskey, they have everything and it's significantly cheaper. So head over to Frisky Whiskey, just type in your phone's GPS, or if you're hopping on I-85 going into Georgia, you'll see billboards all over the place. Frisky Whiskey, love those guys. All right, so reports have come out, right? And we've talked about this a little bit. Landon King wanting to be redshirted. Sounds like he was told that, hey, lose weight, we'll use you in that kind of hybrid tight end role like Rob Gronkowski type thing. That's kind of what I was hearing. He clearly did that. He looks great. Can't stress that enough. He looks fantastic.
Handsome.
Are you hearing similar things about Landon King?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's just weird because it came from a source that it doesn't normally come from. And so but I think everybody's kind of cool with it now, you know?
Yeah, the biggest thing about guys like Landon King, this is something I've never seen before, and it's still early in this whole portal era and transfer era. But I guess you go all the way back to I'm drawing a blank on the quarterback. You got that was at Clemson that did this thing, and it was a big deal. What was his name? Kelly Bryant. Kelly Bryant.
Yeah, he went to Missouri.
Yeah, went to Missouri. And it could be that the portal period has changed and you can't just go in the portal at any point in time. But I guess you could say you're going to go in the portal when it opens. But like we're seeing guys like Landon King and other players, the safety that transferred in from Iowa State did the same thing.
Craig McDonald.
They're going in the portal, but they're redshirting. But they're not declaring that they're going to eventually go in. They're going in. They're redshirting, hoping to save that year of eligibility because they want to play at Auburn next year. And that seems to me to that they want to play for the next coach, not this one. They want to play for the next group of coaches that come in, which I think is very telling.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if other folks do that. The Craig McDonald one is interesting because he committed to Auburn while Bryan Harsin was the head coach. He committed to he may be the most recent active player that committed. I don't think anybody else transferred in after him. Maybe Marcus Bragg. I don't fully remember the timeline there. But Landon King, I get he didn't commit to Bryan Harsin. He was already here, and then
signed early. He signed early. And I don't know if he enrolled early, but I know he signed early before Bryan was hired.
Right. So that's interesting. Do you think other players will follow suit? And if so, do you have any kind of potential names that we could be?
No, I do think there will be more. I don't want to say a whole lot of names until they've actually gone in because I don't want to put anybody on blast. But I don't know that there's going to be anybody that's just going to be killer. Like Tank's probably not going to do it, and there's not going to be guys like super big impact guys. But these second tier, there could be a lot of second tier guys that want to save this year of eligibility so that either when they open the portal period, they can go transfer, or they hang around to see who the next coach is going to be. And they may want to play for that guy and don't want to waste their year of eligibility this year. So it's just,
do you get a feeling that the Zach Calzada would potentially stay at Auburn depending on who the next coach was? Do you really?
I think so. Yeah, absolutely. I think he went into this whole shoulder situation. I went into this whole surgery with 100% plan to try to come back to Auburn after next season, depending on how the coaching change and everything worked out. And it was somebody that he was comfortable with. I think that's been part of his plan the whole time. I don't know how his whole graduation thing works out, but I think he's
already graduated.
Yeah, so I guess he could go ahead and grad transfer.
He could grad transfer. Yeah.
But I think I've only heard that he wants to try to come back here if the situation works itself, and you're hearing more of that, which is to me is unheard of. I don't think we've seen situations where kids sit out to play for the next coach. I don't think we've seen that before.
So you think there's going to be another quarterback battle between Calzada and Robbie and maybe TJ, depending on what happens there?
Well, I wouldn't be shocked if one or more quarterbacks actually do leave.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if all 4 of Auburn's quarterbacks were back.
I just don't think Calzada, depending on the hire, is going to be one of them. I think he's probably going to hang around because I do think he obviously has some shoulder issues. I think he's got the potential to be a really good player, and I think he's going to want to see what comes next.
Okay,
at Auburn.
All right, let's kind of predict what will come next when Auburn heads to Oxford to take on Ole Miss in just a second. Charlie 5 right here on Locked On Auburn. Our partners at Nissan have worked with us to create a new segment across the Locked On College Network titled Thrilling Moments, where we highlight the most exciting play from Auburn's weekend. I guess this week's thrilling moment from the Auburn Tigers is Jarquez Hunter's big touchdown catch and run against Georgia in the second half. It broke a lot of streaks. So I guess it showed that Jarquez Hunter is always going to fight, which is great. So this segment inspired by the thrilling new designs featured across Nissan's new lineup of vehicles. Pursue what thrills you in the all-new Frontier, Armada, or Pathfinder today. Available now at nissanusa.com. Charlie 5, Auburn pretty much a 2-touchdown underdog wherever you look, including our friends at Bet Online. I think that line is fair. I do have a weird feeling about this game this weekend. I just think Auburn has always kind of been able to match up well with Ole Miss. I think even including last year, they had one of their best seasons that they've ever had, and Auburn still found a way to beat them without scoring in the second half. What
right.
What are your thoughts going into this one?
Okay, so I think the teams that Auburn possibly has a chance to hang around with are teams that don't play very good defense at all, and then maybe don't just have an incredibly explosive offense. That's where I feel like this could be another mismatch. I actually think they could possibly score even more points than Georgia on us. They're very good on offense, but they do play pretty good defense too. That's what's a little bit scary. They throw the ball really well. They run the ball even better. I mean, think about how well Georgia ran the ball on us.
Yeah.
Ole Miss is even better.
They're better at it.
And they play good defense. This is
that
one of the
Judkins
best.
Dude. That Judkins dude is a problem.
Begged to come to Auburn. Begged to come to Auburn. And we tried. We had some bigger fish that we were trying to fry. Couldn't fry them, and we ended up.
Well, he begged Auburn to come to Auburn.
Begged Auburn. Wanted to come to Auburn. 100% wanted to come to Auburn.
Who did we take instead of him?
We were trying to get Trey Citizen, and he ended up going to Miami, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's kind of how that played out.
Got it.
He committed. He signed. I think he signed early, and he wanted a spot here, and we were going to wait, and we ended up getting burned there. So
I vaguely remember this now.
Yeah. So we still got Damari Alston, but we wanted 2 backs, and this kid's Judkins is unbelievable. And then you got Zach Evans,
right.
Jackson Dart can pull it and run on you.
And Jackson Dart has gotten better pretty much every week over the season.
Every single week, yes.
And just them as a team getting better every single week. And you mentioned the defense. Their defense doesn't have to be great, but it's pretty solid. And I thought it was going to be below average, and it's probably a slightly above average SEC defense paired with that offense. That makes them a really good team.
Here's what's scary. 4th best rushing defense in the conference. So they have the ability to shut down the run. They have the ability to shut down the run, and if you can stop us from running the ball, you pretty much stop everything about this whole offense because we just can't. We're not there yet. Robbie's not there yet, even though He can do great things. He's not there yet where he can just drop back, pick you apart, and beat you when you're giving that to him. They're going to give it to him. They're going to give that to him. I just don't know that we're there to be able to take it. It's on the road. We're reeling after a big loss. It could get ugly. It could get ugly.
Last week has the potential to be the kind of loss that impacts you for the rest of the year too. Much like the Penn State loss was, and our guys responded really well. We'll see how our guys respond to this road loss, and they've got to go on the road again. But, you pitch them bye week coming up after the fact, and then, I think a very beatable Arkansas team comes to town. So
look,
we'll see.
As bad as I feel about Ole Miss, like if you take the same thing I just talked about, Arkansas and Texas A&M coming up, terrible against the run. Arkansas has one of the worst defenses I've ever seen.
Arkansas is terrible against everything.
On defense for sure.
Well, they can rush the passer, but that is it. Arkansas and Texas A&M not good against the run, though, and we get them both. I think we get them both at home. So those could be games you could win just based off that matchup alone. And Mississippi State and Starkville coming up though,
they're right in the middle of the pack, stopping the run. So,
but that Mississippi State team may be the most underrated team in college football.
They're a solid football team.
If they had LSU helmets on instead of Mississippi State helmets, people are talking about them as a top 15 team. They are a very good team.
No, I can't really figure out how they lost to LSU, but they're solid. They're going to scare some people. I'm anxious to see that Alabama matchup because
me too.
That's those type of offenses that give Alabama fits, and they play a little bit soft. They play pretty salty defense. They're a good team. They're a very good team.
They are a good team. I think the winner of the Egg Bowl at the end of the year will be the number 2 team in the West, which I would not have predicted going into.
I would not be shocked. I would not be shocked if I got to look at the schedule. I think it plays out this way that if things fall right, the Egg Bowl could be for the SEC West. If
Alabama's got to start losing then, if that's the case.
Well, they play both of these teams,
and they play Tennessee this weekend,
and they play Tennessee this weekend. So the Egg Bowl could be for the SEC West championship, which would be wild.
Don't they play that on a Friday? Not a Friday night game?
It used to be a Friday night. It may be the Friday night. That'd be pretty sick. But regardless, they could be both playing for 10-win seasons, which would be unbelievable.
Yep. So
we'll
see. Do you think a decision is made about Bryan Harsin this weekend, assuming Auburn loses?
As of right now, I don't expect him to be.
Okay.
I don't really expect him to be fired. I think he'll be here at least to November. I don't know exactly how the time frame will work, but you remember this kind of has a feel. You remember when Muschamp was at Florida, and somewhere towards the end of the season, they made an announcement that he wouldn't be retained, and they ended up beating Florida State, and they carried him off the field or something, or maybe beat Georgia or something. It was something where they carried him off the field, but it was like everybody knew it was announced that he would not be retained. I kind of see maybe some scenario kind of like that playing out.
Okay.
Currently. Right. Now, if it gets ugly Saturday, all bets could be off.
It seems like it's this weekend or the end of the year for me. That's just kind of the feeling that we get.
Yep. No turn. This is the big.
We'll see.
Yeah, 100%.
We'll see. How can people find you, hear you, love you, support you, all that good stuff, buddy?
Absolutely. You can find me on Twitter at @the_Charlie_5. You can find me in the Locked On Auburn Discord every single day. On auburnlive.com, the corner message board, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday on the Dad Bod Golf Pod.
That's another Locked On Auburn in the books. Coming up tomorrow, a War Report Wednesday. Mike G returns to the show.
Mike G.
Right here on Locked On Auburn.